Humongous game over in South America this coming week, over in the World Cup qualifiers, as Argentina, current World Cup winners, take on multiple World Cup winners, Brazil, that's right, to see who comes out on top in a juggernaut clash over in the World Cup qualifiers. That and much more coming at ya next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction video. Today is all about match number 14, of course, over in South America, as we look forward to seeing who will go to the World Cup in 2026, of course. We'll get into those matches in just a second. If you know where you've been, smash your subscribe button. You want to subscribe for Blackburn Rovers, World Cup qualifiers. We've got it all here under one Ruski. That's right. Of course, Argentina and Brazil headline the show here, but there's some other massive matches over in South America, and we'll get to those in a minute. Big shout out to the members, big shout out to the patrons. You know who you are. So sit tight, hold on. We're going to recap the results from the last round of games. What we're going to do now, though, is of course take a look back at the last round of matches, which did take place this past weekend, and they should be on the screen right about now. That's right. So these are the results, of course, in the black font there. My predictions are on the left in the white font. Paraguay did beat Chile, 1-0 winners. Of course, Chile are in a right old shit zone there. They can't get out of it, and it looks like they're not going to go to the World Cup. We can probably write that off right now. It might even be mathematically possible. We'll see in a minute. Meanwhile, Brazil did beat Colombia 2-1 on with a 3-1 win. Peru with a 3-1 win over Bolivia. I won with a draw. Ecuador with a 2-1 win over Venezuela. I won with a 2-0 win. And Argentina did beat Uruguay 1-0 on the bloody road. So that's the situation there. This is the table as you see it. And here I am on the screen right about now. That's right. So Argentina look good. Again, I think, what is it? What's the situation in this? It's top 5, I think, go to the World Cup. And then the 6th place team goes through a playoff, I think, something like that. I don't even know. Yeah, top 6. Top 6 go through. 7th place goes to a playoff. I think that's how it works right now. So I think Argentina are there. I don't know if it's mathematically possible. What is there? What are we looking at here? It's 10 teams. There's another 5 matches, I believe, which is 15 points. So technically, a point is enough for Argentina to seal their spot in the World Cup. And of course, they're taking on Brazil next. So massive game, of course. Win for Brazil could get them back in contention to maybe even take over in second spot. But what does look set, well, Chile still can mathematically qualify, but they need really snookers, to be honest with you. That's the situation in the table. Of course, these are the next round of games. We're going to do a little bit different this time around. So let's get cracking. And of course, get looking at these matches, of course, which all take place on the same day, which of course this coming Tuesday, the 25th of March. So let's get in the deep end, start at the top of the shop. It's Bolivia, it's Uruguay, and it's coming at you at the Estadio Municipal del Alto. Bolivia under Oscar Villegas, the coach there, 42% form for them. Currently find themselves 7th in the mixer right here, 4 games though without a win. Up against Uruguay under Marcelo Bielsa, who are 4th, but just 1 win in the last 6 matches. They're rocking 42% form for them. They played Bolivia 15 times since 1950, 2 wins Bolivia, 11 Uruguay. There's been 2 draws between the 2 sides. Bolivia have a 3-0 win on the record. They got 15 goals against Uruguay. That's a goal a game on average. Meanwhile, Uruguay have an 8-0 win on the record. They got 46 goals against Bolivia. That's a 3.07 goals a game on average as well. Now, they have already played recently in the Copa America, way back in June. It was in the summer. It was a 5-0 win for Uruguay. Meanwhile, the last time they played in a World Cup qualifier, it was over at Uruguay. It was also a 3-0 win as well. Meanwhile, let's roll back the years to the last time they played in Bolivia. It was a 3-0 win for Bolivia way back in November 2021. So that's what Bolivia will be hoping for, but they're coming into slow on the back of that 3-1 loss to Peru. Uruguay also on the back of that 1-0 loss to Argentina. The odds for this one, Bolivia are actually fancied for the victory on this one. I don't know if I'm going there. I think I'm going to be a little bit... No, I am going there. 2-1 win. Yes, I am. Yeah, it's going to be a tricky old game. And if they can get a result against Bolivia, then who knows where this Uruguayan nation can go. So let's get into the next one. And we have Venezuela up against Peru. Venezuela were looking good for World Cup qualification, but they've now sloped off a little bit. This match taking place at the Monumental. Venezuela under Fernando Bastilla. 8th for the table, 12 points for the campaign, but they are winless in the last 9 matches, including 3 defeats on the spin up against Peru and Oscar Ibanez, who are 9th in the table, 10 points for the campaign, just 1 win in the last 4. They played Venezuela 19 times, 2003, 5 wins Venezuela, 9 wins Peru. There's been 5 draws between the 2 sides. Both sides have a 4-1 win on the record. Peru, though, have scored 25 goals compared to Venezuela's 22 in those 19 matches. 1.16 goals a game on average for Venezuela, 1.32 goals a game for Peru. Last time around, over at Venezuela, it was a 2-1 win for Peru way back in November 2021. 2021. Those are the last World Cup qualifiers for Qatar. The reverse fixture this campaign was a 1-1 draw in Peru way back in November. Peru, though, picking up a 3-1 win over Bolivia, hitting a good bit of form at the moment up against Venezuela on the back of that 3-1 loss to Ecuador. The odds for this one, Venezuela are fancied for the victory on this one. I don't know if I'm that strong or that much of a believer, so I'm going to sit on the fence with the 1-1 draw here to split the points right down the middle. Let's go to Chile now. Chile must-win territory. It's been like that for an absolute age. They're coming into this on okay form, really. It's taking place at the Nacional. Ricardo Garcia's boys are 10th. They're rock bottom right now with just 9 points. Just one defeat in the last 4 for them up against Ecuador, though, who are unbeaten in at least the last 6. They're rocking 83% form, and they won 3 on the spin. They sit 2nd in the World Cup qualification rankings. 15 times they played in 2004, 6 wins for Chile. There's been 7 wins for Ecuador. There's been 2 draws. Chile with a 2-0 win on the record. They've got 13 goals scored against Ecuador in those 15 matches, 0.87 goals a game. Up against Ecuador, though, have a 3-0 win themselves. They've got 20 goals against Chile, 1.33 goals a game. The reverse fixture, a 1-0 win for Ecuador back in November. Chile last match against Ecuador in their own backyard was a 2-0 loss as well. In fact, it's gone 3 games now without a win against Ecuador, and they've also not scored in the last 3 games against Ecuador. Chile, though, on the back of that 1-0 loss to Paraguay. Last time they were at home, though, Chile, in the World Cup qualifiers, they did beat Venezuela 4-2, so you just don't know. Ecuador, though, with the 2-1 win over Venezuela most recently, last time they were on the road, they picked up a 1-0 win over Colombia. This is a very tricky game here. The bookies, though, will go with probably Ecuador. Actually, they do give it a Chile. Chile are fancy for the victory on this one. I'm also going there. I don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm going to believe in it. La Roca, going to go with a 2-1 win for them. In the end, let's go Colombia then, up against Paraguay, coming at you over at the Estadio Metropolitano Roberto Melendez. Colombia under Nestor Lorenzo. They are down into 6th right now. They've fallen off the boil of late. 3 defeats on the spin up against Paraguay under Gustavo Alfalfo, who are 5th right now. 83% form for them, and they could also be heading to the first World Cup in a long, long time. They played 17 times since 2004. 11 wins Colombia, 3 wins Paraguay. There's been 3 draws. Colombia with a 2-0 win on the record. They got 20 goals in those 17 matches, 1.18 goals a game. Up against Paraguay, 3 wins. 5-0 win was the biggest. 13 goals scored in the 17 matches, 0.76. But they are unbeaten in the last 6. They're looking good right now. Last time around, over at the reverse fixture, it was a 1-0 win for Colombia in Paraguay back in November 2023. They did play the Copa America in June. It was a 2-1 win as well for Colombia, who've won 3 on the spin against Paraguay. Paraguay, though, with a 1-1 win over Chile most recently. Colombia with that 2-1 loss to Brazil. The odds for this one, though, Colombia fancied red hot favourites on this one. I am going to go with a 3-1 win as well for Colombia. Unfortunately, Paraguay will take a bit of a dent, but they look good. They still think that they're in contention to qualify for the World Cup. We'll see as well. And then finally, we save the best to last. It is a ding-dong classic. It is Argentina. It is Brazil. It's coming to the Estadio Monumental Antonio Francesco Lipetti. Argentina under Lionel Scaloni. Just 1 defeat in the last 5, and they've won 3 of that last 4. Up against Brazil under Junior Dorival. Of course, a 3rd in the table right now, unbeaten the last 5, and they played Argentina 28 times since 1974. 8 wins Argentina, 15 wins Brazil. There's been 5 draws. Argentina have a 3-1 win on the record. They got 25 goals in those 28 games, 0.89 goals a game. Brazil, though, on the flip, 3-0 win, their biggest, 46 goals scored in 28 matches, 1.64 goals a game. Argentina have won 3 home matches on a row, and they're coming into this having beaten Brazil last time in Brazil back in the reverse fixture in November, 1-0 win as it was. Meanwhile, last time they played in Argentina, it was a 0-0 draw way back in November 2021. That was in the last World Cup qualifiers for Qatar. So we're looking at, oh my goodness gracious, 4 games without a goal for Brazil against Argentina. That includes 3 defeats in the last 4. Brazil on the back of that 2-1 win over Colombia. Argentina with a 1-0 win over Uruguay. And they're also coming into this on back-to-back clean sheets. Argentina are expected to win this game, but it is tight. Very, very tight. I am, unfortunately, sitting on the fence here with a 1-1 draw. I think Brazil will be too stubborn. Argentina might be a little bit, I don't think they want to go guns blazing on this one. But they definitely don't want to lose. So I'm going for that 1-1 draw in the end. That's what I think. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below as we look forward to this matches. And of course, probably that point will still be enough to send Argentina to the World Cup and join the likes of Japan and the hosts in the World Cup in 2026. But until then, subscribe, smash the like, catch you later. We are done.